Sparkle's dear friends, tell us in the comments which city or country you're watching from. We're so happy to have you here. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this new story. Sparkles. Lily Parker pressed her palm against the foggy glass of a small-town grocery store window in rural Texas, staring at her own gray eyes in the reflection. Outside, the dusty road shimmered under the morning sun, disturbed only by the rumble of tractors or the occasional rusty pickup truck. In her jeans pocket, her phone buzzed with new notifications. Her friends from social media shared photos from resorts, selfies in luxury cars, dinners in restaurants where a single meal cost more than her father's monthly paycheck. "I'm no worse than them," Lily whispered, brushing a strand of ash-blonde hair from her face. And she was right. Tall, slim, with sharp features and storm-colored eyes, she turned heads even when she rarely made it to the county town. Her beauty was undeniable, but in this town it was wasted. The biggest excitement was a Friday night dance at the school gym. Her dream had begun 3 years earlier. That day, a white Mercedes-Benz had pulled up outside this very store. She still remembered every detail: the sunlight dancing on flawless paint, the gentle thud of the door, and the elegant woman who stepped out, draped in a cream coat. The stranger bought water and cigarettes, dropped a $100 bill on the counter, and left with only 2 words: "Keep the change." The French perfume lingered in the air, and in Lily's heart, a new hunger. From that day, Lily swore she would only marry a man who drove a white Mercedes. That car was her ticket out of poverty, out of dusty roads, into a life where people didn't count pennies. Daydreaming again. Aunt Maggie, the store clerk, interrupted, lugging a box of canned goods. "You'd do better marrying Thomas Miller. He's got land, a solid house." Thomas. Lily wrinkled her nose. "So I can milk cows till I'm old and raise kids like clockwork. No thanks." Maggie sighed. She had once dreamed of her own prince, but ended up with a mechanic from a nearby town, 3 kids, and a life of endless laundry. "Life's no fairy tale, Lily. Princes don't ride through here." But just then, the store door opened, and in walked a man on a dusty bicycle. Paul Johnson first showed up at the store that hot July afternoon, sweat dripping down his tanned arms, his old bicycle leaning against the wall outside. "Cold water, please," he asked, his voice steady with a hint of a city accent. Lily handed him a bottle, avoiding his eyes. Something about him, the rough hands, the dark thoughtful gaze, made her heartbeat quicken, and that unsettled her. "Paul," he said, offering a shy smile, "I'm working on the new housing project across the river. Saving up to start my own business. And you?" Lily. "Born here, raised here. And yes, bored here," she admitted before she could stop herself. Paul nodded knowingly. "I thought I'd landed on the edge of nowhere. But you get used to it. Or you find something worth staying for." She almost smiled. Almost. But then he asked the wrong question. "What keeps you here?" "My prince," Lily replied without hesitation. "On a white Mercedes." She expected laughter. Instead, Paul's gaze softened. "And if he comes on a bicycle?" "Then he's not my prince," she snapped, retreating into her armor. Paul only nodded, but she caught the flicker of pain in his eyes before he turned away. The very next day, he returned. For milk, for bread, for excuses that didn't matter. Each time he came, Lily's heart betrayed her with a quiet stutter. He spoke of the city, of building homes with his own hands, of the golden light of dawn over the fields. His hands were calloused, yet tender when they brushed hers exchanging change. One morning, he brought her a bouquet of wild daisies. "Daisies are more honest than roses," he said simply. "Roses are bought with money. Daisies are given from the heart." No one had ever given her flowers like that. She inhaled their scent, summer, freedom, something achingly real. Her lips trembled with the words she didn't dare say. But that same week, a message arrived from Victor King, her old classmate who had left for Dallas. "Lily," he wrote, "remember you said you'd only marry a successful man? I'm not a millionaire yet, but I've built my own company. Condo downtown. BMW X5. Let's meet." Her pulse raced. This was it. The chance. The world she wanted, wrapped in designer suits and tinted windows. They met at the county town's fanciest restaurant. Victor pulled up in a sleek black BMW, his gold watch flashing under the lights. He smelled of expensive cologne, spoke of business deals, glass towers, and vacations abroad. Champagne flowed, laughter sparkled, and Lily felt like she had stepped into a movie. "This is my prince," she whispered to herself. Victor leaned closer, smiling. "I want to meet your parents. If you'll let me." The very next day, he arrived at her home with gifts, a new flat-screen TV, tools for her father, perfume for her mother. Her parents, dazzled by the shine of wealth, whispered to her when he left, "Don't let him go. He's a man who's made it." And yet, when the yard fell silent and the gifts were carried inside, Lily stood alone and felt a strange emptiness. Everything was perfect, exactly as she had dreamed. So why did it make her want to cry? A few days later, Paul came into the store. He didn't linger, didn't tell stories. He bought bread, paid, and turned for the door. "Paul," she called after him, her voice cracking. He stopped. His eyes met hers, heavy with hurt. I'm getting married," she whispered. "I know." His voice was even, but his jaw clenched. "Congratulations." "Wait, how did you?" "It's a small town. News travels fast." He hesitated, then asked the one question she feared most. "Do you love him?" Her throat closed. She wanted to say of course, but the words refused to come. "He can give you what you want," Paul said softly. "Money, cars, comfort. All I can give you is myself. My hands, my love, my heart. But maybe that's not enough." She blinked away tears. "Paul. Don't explain. I understand." He pushed the door open, his voice breaking just slightly. "Be happy, Lily. Truly happy." And then he was gone. The wedding day arrived. Guests filled the Parker family's backyard, chatter mixing with the photographer's commands. Victor looked sharp in his tailored suit, barking instructions as if he owned the place. Her parents beamed with pride. Their daughter had landed her prince. Upstairs, Lily stood in her white dress, staring out the window. The laughter below felt distant, hollow. Her chest tightened with every second. She was about to marry everything she thought she wanted, and nothing her heart needed. Then, through the noise, came a sound she knew too well. A car engine. Not the polished roar of Victor's BMW, but something steadier, humbler. She froze. A white Mercedes, not new but spotless, rolled into the yard. The door opened, and Paul stepped out. Dressed simply, a bouquet of white roses trembling in his hands, he looked straight up at her window. Lily's breath caught. The world blurred. She didn't remember running down the stairs, didn't hear the gasps of her guests. She only remembered shouting his name, and the way his face lit up with a smile that melted months of silence. Victor's jaw dropped. Her parents whispered in confusion. The crowd fell silent as Lily stopped just a step away from Paul. "You always said," Paul began, his voice steady but his hand shaking, "that you'd only marry the man with a white Mercedes." "Yes," she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. "Well, mine isn't new. But it's paid for with my own sweat, my own work. And I can't give you palaces or diamonds. Only love. Honest, unshakable love. For life." "Why didn't you ever tell me you had a car?" "Because I wanted you to choose me, not the Mercedes. To love a man who rode up on a bicycle." Victor snapped out of his shock. "What the hell is this? We have a wedding. Everything's ready."
I'm sorry, Victor.
Lily slipped off the diamond ring, her voice breaking. "But I can't marry without love." Victor's face turned red. "I gave you everything. Gifts, a future, a life people dream of. All except the one thing money can't buy." She took Paul's hand, her voice trembling but clear. "Love." Victor cursed, her parents tried to argue, guests whispered. But none of it mattered. Paul leaned in, whispering just for her, "Let's go. Let's build the life we dream of, together." They drove off down the dusty country road, the blacktop stretching toward the horizon. Lily gazed out the window, her hand in Paul's. For the first time, her dream didn't feel borrowed or false. It was real. As the sun set, painting the sky in gold and rose, she turned to him with a trembling smile. "You know what I realized?" "What?" "Dreams do come true. Just not the way we imagine. I wanted a prince in a white Mercedes, but I found a king in a black one. And that's so much better." Paul kissed her, tender and fierce, sealing the truth in their hearts. The old Mercedes gleamed in the fading light, not as a symbol of wealth, but of something far more precious, a love that no money could ever buy. Red Heart # thank you for listening until the end. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment, like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. We post new stories every single day.